we're very much a junior club. The facilities aren't great. We've got plans for a new clubhouse to come in the years to come. So we're in maybe quite a unique position. We're not able to go to funding agencies and scream for tens of thousands, which is what the club desperately needs. So what we were looking at is our pitches are located about half a mile away from the main clubhouse, and what we were looking at doing was improving the spectator experience, as they might say in this day and age, so that when people come down, they were better looked after, that they had some shelter that we could better provide for our juniors playing on a Sunday morning. Basically look at our collection of porta cabins and make them seem something that they're not really. This might not look like much now, but it looks even worse then. So we've got an equipment store, we've got a porta cabin, which with no drainage facilities, or we didn't have any electricity here at the time. So that's literally just been a bit of a shelter with not an ideal kitchen in, but a kitchen of sorts for the parents to use. And then we've had another storage unit which contains the mower. So the plan for RugbyForce 2012 was effectively just to try and make this look better, give everywhere a lick of paint so it looks uniform, build this decking area that you can see, build a shelter so that the parents have got something to stand under. If we went back 12 years, this would have been an empty field on a Sunday morning. We started a junior section in 2004, and we've now got 100 of our kids and opposition kids turning up. We've got parents watching it. We've got bacon butties and sausages and coffees on the go, and this is thriving on a Sunday morning now. The benefit is I think people expect more nowadays, when they turn up to facilities, and in all honesty, what we could offer was little more than an open, barren field. So what that has given us is a step up to the next level. So when people come down now, as I say, they've got a little bit more warmth. They've got an area where they can stand when they're dry, and as I say, for our juniors on a Sunday morning, they've got the opportunity to get a bite to eat now and get a drink while the parents are watching the kids play. So it's basically just lifted the facilities that we can offer. Second year we brought the focus back to the club. We're a multi-sports club here with so we're resident here at the main clubhouse with a football club, a running club, a fishing club, a tennis club, a bowls club. And all of the clubs are very similar, struggle for volunteers, in a similar position to ourselves really, and we were able to get across to those other members that there's an opportunity here. It really worked for us last year. Join us with it, let's all pull together and let's make a difference to the overall club, which is our home. So this is the ladies, yeah. So if you can imagine, 1950s, probably never been retiled since. It just looked awful, but 95% of the members here are men. They come in, they drink in the bar, they watch TV. Well, that's not really that important. We never get any women in. And this is probably one of the reasons why we didn't. So, retiling it, yeah, we've probably spent £1,000 and the club doesn't make a lot of money each year, but at least lady members now can see we've made a bit of an effort, and they might be more inclined now to come down, have a few drinks. We'll get that back in spades. This was RugbyForce, yeah, this was part of that weekend we did. We might not have much funds available, but £1,000 spent refurbishing the ladies' toilets could get quite a big payback, because you come down here, if you've got wife or girlfriend with you, they don't like the facilities, they're not going to stick around, they're not going to come back again in a hurry. If we can show that we're trying to make progress, then they'll stay, they'll have a few drinks, and you don't need many visits, being commercial about it, you don't need many visits from people like that before that money's been returned in spades. So this was this year's project, 2016, formerly used as a meeting room stroke storage. And the work that we did this year was literally to clear it out, give it a lick of paint. We've had to replaster some of the walls. Like I said, this is where you realise that you've got guys amongst your midst, and you don't realise what skills they've got. It turns out one of the lads had done plastering before, and he'd done a damn good job with it, when he came in. So, as a result of that, we've probably not even spent £500 on that. A lot of the equipment we've had donated. People will have this kind of stuff lying around that they bought with every good intention. Every January, I'm going to get myself fit. and stuff lies around like that and it never gets used. So, you know, practically all the kit you can see in here, people have said, I'm not using it, let me bring it down here if you can put it to some use. So the idea of the crowdfunding was simply, you know, to put out, shout out that to the wider community, get on the Facebook group for Helsby Village page and our neighbouring Frodsham as well. To just say, has anybody got any equipment like that they don't mind us taking? The money each year has always gone on materials, obviously. We've turned to local businesses where we can to try and get the best deals, you know, which has often worked well. But also what we found is that, you know, people can be quite imaginative, and once you start this ball rolling, it's got a tendency to snowball. One of the activities we took part in this year was to build a new pitch side barrier. So the intention we had, one of the lads came up with a scheme, well, we can build this using scaffolding poles. Costed it up, it was going to cost us in the region of about £1,500, £2,000. One of the guys, his local employers, do a lot of scaffolding work at site, and he said, well, I might be able to get some of this equipment donated. And that was exactly how we ended up. So we had all the poles donated. We needed to get the just folk out for the tees and the branches. So, you know, saved ourselves a small fortune in that regard. And this has literally been, you know, one of our guys coming up with a design. You know, scaffolding poles. We've had those donated from a local business. So all we've had to do is to buy the connectors, and then it's just been a case of over that weekend and since then coming back to paint it. We've had a number of people working on this in sections, and it just gives a more professional look to it. It also gives us opportunity for advertising for local businesses, so that's generating revenue now. You know, a couple of £100 from each sponsor, then all of a sudden, you know, you're looking at potentially a few thousand being generated off the back of that. And what's it cost us to put together? As I say, scaffolding poles donated, you know, tees and elbows, you know, maybe £400 or £500, possibly not even that. Apart from that, it's just been people's time. But these are jobs that people can see, well, yeah, I can easily do that. I can pick up a paintbrush. You know, and that's where RugbyForce has been a godsend. The thing I've always said to people, you know, when the RFU have asked us for feedback before, has been that, and I shouldn't say this because it might do us out of funding in future, the money the first year wasn't the big thing. The £3,500 made a difference, but the biggest thing we got out of that was it brought everybody together, and it just gave us an energy, and it lifted the club. And as I say, it made people realise that it was worth putting the work into, and that there were more people that cared. And we've gone from strength to strength, you know, since that. Simply just grasp the opportunity and don't rule out how big this thing can be. I think, you know, you could be sceptical about this going into it, that you know, it's not going to come off, that there is only you, there is only that core group. And I would say take a chance. We took a chance that first year, and yeah, half a dozen people normally involved in the running of a club, and all of a sudden we've got 100, 150 people down over 2 days.